Hi Vinyl community, John here again. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents worth in to the thread set up by Canadian Stud Muffin. Now, Canadian Stud Muffin is new to me. I've never really heard of him before, but obviously one or two other people have spoken about him, and I saw this thread and I thought, well, gotta say something about that. I guess one of the things that drove me to do it was seeing Graham Grebo's contribution to the discussion, where he spoke about this wonderful record, and he dared to suggest that it was less than perfect. I think actually Graham said he really just didn't get it, or didn't enjoy it as much as the other Led Zeppelin records. Some of you may know that this is possibly my favourite #1 all-time record. Yeah, I don't quote me on that, but 9 times out of 10 I would probably think of this one as being my favourite record. So I think it's a case of having to send an angry mob with pitchforks and torches, flaming torches at that, to you, Graham, because this is a fantastic record. It's got so much depth, it's got so much variety, I think the word is, and I think it's, for me this record is, I guess it holds a lot of memories. It's the first record of Led Zeppelin that I ever got to hear, and at the time I was a student in the sort of mid to late 80s, and somebody suggested to me that the Cult, who I was a big fan of at the time, particularly Love and Electric, borrowed a lot from Led Zeppelin, and I thought, oh, you should listen to Led Zeppelin if they sound a bit like the Cult, or if the Cult sound a bit like Led Zeppelin. And cut a long story short, I came across this record, and I really couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear what those people were meaning. It didn't sound like Led Zeppelin, it didn't sound like the Cult at all. But I was so eager to hear what it was they were talking about. I carried on listening to it and playing it and playing it and playing it, waiting for that penny to drop. But it never did, obviously, because I think they were referring to something else. It wasn't until a couple of years later, I guess, when I heard for the first time Led Zeppelin 1 and 2, that I understood, oh, okay, and now I get what they're meaning. They're talking about the very sort of simple production that you hear on the first 2 albums, but also I think you can hear that a little bit in on Electric, by the Cult, and I think, yeah, there's a few other different sort of musical references, I think, that, yeah, you could say, right, I see where those people are coming from. The Cult sound a little bit like they've lent some ideas from the first 2 sort of early Led Zeppelin albums, I suppose, and that's good. But I think by the time Led Zeppelin were here at this point in their career, they'd moved on a bit and they were doing something different. But because I sort of persisted for so long with this, I generally have learned to love it, really. It starts off obviously with the song Remains the Same, and sort of merges into the Rain song. I've always loved that. It's just such a long, epic piece with a lot of depth. I really like the use of orchestra on this record. What I like to do, and I've done this before a couple of times, is I've sort of had C90 tapes with this on one side, and then I have the first album by Heart, Dreamboat Annie, on the other side, because that's a similar kind of record to this, and that it's a basic, simple rock, but they use sort of orchestral sections in the music to sort of add a lot of depth to it. So for me, I think it's very charming. Over the Hills and Far Away, The Crunch, I mean, for me, these songs are just so much part of my past. It feels a bit painful when anyone says that they're anything less than perfect. The only track that I don't enjoy as much as the others is No Quarter, surprisingly. A lot of people say they like that, but I don't know. It's not a bad song, I just don't think it's up to par with the rest of the album. So that's my view on House of the Holy. But the record that I will say that I really dislike of my favourite band is, and this is probably going to receive just as many calls of anger and frustration from angry mobs with pitchforks and flaming torches, is this. Led Zeppelin 4. If you talk to most people about Led Zeppelin, before long they'll say, oh, how brilliant Led Zeppelin 4 is. And I've always felt, well, I just don't enjoy it as much. And it's probably the record by Led Zeppelin that I play the least, put it that way. And I probably have to have a good reason to play it. I don't play it, I guess, because for me it just doesn't feel very consistent. If we look at the track listing, so we got, well, I'll start off by naming some of the big songs. Yeah, so you've got Stairway to Heaven. Now, whether you know who Led Zeppelin are, whether you're a fan of them or whatever, Stairway to Heaven is one of those songs that you've heard already too many times before you know the association. That's my view. You know, it's a bit like, you know, Hotel California. This gets played all the time, everywhere. And whenever you sort of hear journalists or whatever talking about Led Zeppelin, they're going to say something about Stairway to Heaven. It's not a bad song. I just feel that, yeah, I've heard it too many times already, even before I knew who Led Zeppelin were. So that's one thing that counts against it. There are some other great songs on here, like Rock and Roll. I think is just a fantastic Led Zeppelin song. And I really like Going to California too. For me, Going to California is a beautiful track. Really shows sort of the diversity of what Led Zeppelin do and did. But the rest of the material, I feel, it's just sort of subpar. Black Dog. People often talk about how great that is. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to say that David Coverdale improved that song when he made it into Still of the Night. But I think he made better use of the material there. That's gonna get me hunted down, isn't it? I can tell you. But I just think, yeah, Led Zeppelin could have done so much more with Black Dog than they did, and so I don't really. It doesn't do anything for me. It just feels so mediocre. Battle of Evermore. Again, that's not a bad song. It's just not one of my favourites. So already you've got sort of first side. It's only got one song in it that I really, really enjoy, and that's Rock and Roll. Stairway to Heaven, I don't want to hear it anymore. I've heard it too many times, and the other two are just, for me, they're mediocre. Misty Mountain Hop. Yeah, I mean it's nice. I think that probably would have felt nicer on Led Zeppelin 3. I think it would have been more in context. Four Sticks. I feel it's just another mediocre song. Led Zeppelin have done far more better songs in that vein, with a lot more oomph to them. Going to California, yeah, I've got a lot of time for that. It's a beautiful song. And When the Levee Breaks. No, yeah. And a similar thing to that song. I just feel that, yeah, they've done songs that are better in that kind of vein. For me, I don't suppose it was made as a, as a radio friendly record, but it feels a bit like that. It feels like they weren't really kind of breaking any new ground with this. They were just sort of making a record for the radio. Hello? Yeah, sorry about that. The phone rang. I had to cut and answer the call. But yeah, so just to finish off, Led Zeppelin is certainly one of my favourite bands, if not the favourite band. And yeah, this is the record of theirs that I dislike the most. I wouldn't really say I hate it, but I don't enjoy it. I seldom play it, actually. So there you go. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching. Check out my next video. Bye.